Welcome to PowerTrade. My name's Ted Posobiec. Let's get started with a disclaimer here. Take a look at this. I am not a financial advisor. I am a wow, CL just took a dump. And it's going down some more. Take a look at the disclaimer here. I'm not a financial advisor. I am a full-time day trader. Remember that there is risk in trading, so don't risk money you can't afford to lose. And let's get started. Sounds good. Texas. Julian. PowerTrade trading format. Let's go through this. This is a 20-minute trading session on a new topic every week. Live trading for 10 minutes. Join me in a 20-minute interactive mastermind. Is the microphone on? If your computer has a working microphone, you may be asked to join in on the conversation during the mastermind. Your participation is very important and will help accelerate your learning curve. Each mastermind includes wins. Tell us about your best trades of the week so far. Lessons. What did you learn this week that would benefit others? Q&A. What can we help to clarify that will help you be a better trader? About WINvesting. Established in early 2009, we've helped thousands of traders like you in over 53 countries around the world. Our focus is to help you get real-world profits without risking your hard-earned cash. We do this via our 6-step profitability path so you can learn in a virtually risk-free, stress-free environment. For more information on this, go to www.winvesting.com. About your host, me, Ted Posobiec, Chief Trading Strategist at WINvesting.com. I'm a professional day trader, primarily futures. I do buy and sell stocks and dabble a little bit, very little in options. I also host the E-mini Insider Trading Room at WINvesting and enjoy doing that, helping others learn how to trade. Here's some quick housekeeping notes. Replays. We are recording this and we'll post the replay as soon as possible. Participate. Your active participation will help you reinforce what you learn. Suggest. Send topics for future power trades to support at winvesting.com. If we use your suggestion for a future power trade topic, you'll get a free month of our bronze membership, normally $29, with no auto renew and no strings attached. See details at www.winvesting.com. Before we get started, if you're risking your own money in the market, stop. Learn how to trade other people's money with a prop firm. We recommend Top Step Trader. You can get funded for up to $150,000 in your trading account. We've done it, and our students have done it also. You keep 80% of the profits with zero risk. You can go to www.winvesting.com/OPM for more information on that. I really think that the Top Step Trader is a real good training and a way to learn how to trade without risking your own money there. So go take a look at that at www.winvesting.com/OPM. Part 1, the training. The traveling trader, tips for an optimal trading experience on the road. Overview, trading with a laptop, adding a screen, checking the Wi-Fi before you start trading live. What do you do if or when, it's not so much if, it's when, and it does happen, when the Wi-Fi loses connection. I have last year I was away from my trading office for several months, helping a family member out, and I was going from hotel to hotel, and then ended up at my uncle's place for at least a month, trading out of there. And I've learned a lot while I was doing that. And just recently, 2 weeks, I was in Louisiana helping my daughter out, and ran into the same situation. But what I have learned while traveling, go on vacations, I can take my laptop with me. And we're going to get into what I've run into. It is, for me, it's a lot different trading with a laptop. And I normally use a minimum of 6 screens, so that drops me down to whatever I take with me, depending on how I'm going from point A to point B. If I'm driving, I have no problem carrying extra screens, but if I'm flying, I just take the bare minimum. So we're going to get into what I need for each one of these, what I check for, and what I do before I start trading live, along with losing a connection. Trading with a laptop. Trading on a laptop is a big adjustment if you're used to trading on a home computer with multiple screens. I like using a mouse, so I have a wireless mouse that I bring with me on the road. You don't have to use a wireless mouse. I prefer myself a wireless. Make sure I have batteries and all that. Everything is up and good to go. It's best to use the same mouse that you use on your home or desk computer. I say that because just this last 2 weeks, I ended up taking a different mouse, and I actually have a mouse that's programmed. It's got 7, 8 different buttons on it, so I can use my drawing tools a little faster and get things in and out. So I will be purchasing another mouse that goes in my travel bag that is like the one that I'm using. It's more of like a gaming mouse, really. But best to use what you're already used to, and makes things go a little easier. Adding a screen. Most laptops have a port connection to connect a external screen. Some will have a VGA, HDMI, and display port. My computer actually has all but the mini. I'm using Asus. I have 2 of them. They're identical. Mine has all 3, and it also has a USB ports. Most hotels have TVs that have 1 or more of the connections to connect your laptop on. This is if you can't carry your own screen. I do go in and I'll plug into the hotel's screen or my daughter's screen, whatever it takes, so I don't have to go purchase a screen while I'm at the while I'm trading away. I have last year I have only been in one hotel last year that had an older TV that did not have no way to hook up to my laptop. It was I was only there for one night. Thankfully, it was late Friday when I got in there, noticed it, and I checked out that next day. So you want to take a look at that, kind of ask around, ask them what kind of TVs are in there, if they have it. If it's an older hotel, you might want to take a look at that before you even get it in that room. You may need the right cable to connect. I carry an HDMI cable and a VGA with me while I'm traveling. I carry both of those cables are in my little traveling pouch, so I can hook up one way or the other. If you do not have a VGA or an HDMI or a DisplayPort connector on your laptop, you can use a USB port. For a USB, you'll need a USB to VGA adapter or a USB to an HDMI, depending on which connector the TV has. I have USB to VGA. I don't have the HDMI. I've just never run into it where I needed that. But eventually, when I get around to it, I will probably carry HDMI, USB to HDMI, if I happen to change or need more screens, if I need more than 2 screens, which would be the laptop screen and the whatever screen that I have. I may have another one. Matching a VGA or HDMI cable to connect the adapter to the TV. It'll also work on other monitors as long as your monitor has VGA or a HDMI. Most monitors today that you'll run into will have an HDMI on it. At least the last 2 that I have bought, they have that on there. This here's an example of a USB to VGA adapter. This is the particular one that I have. Works pretty good. The USB to VGA. Here's one of the most important parts of Wi-Fi trading at a hotel or at somebody else's place. Before checking into a hotel, I ask if I can test the Wi-Fi out to see if I can get a good connection. And I tell them that, you know, I do work on there. I just need to check the connection out. And this could be, this will depend how well it works depending on time of day. Usually when I check in, it's the day before I do anything, and I want to get into an area where there is maybe not 100%, but around where there's a lot of people there, because I want to see what kind of draw it's going to be. Yeah, we'll get into the reason why here in a minute. We'll take a look at this. Before checking into the hotel, like I say, I asked to see if I can get a good connection. Now, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. You have a code. If they don't let me test it out, I'll just walk away, find someplace else. I try. Here's one of the most. Another thing is when I get a room, I want to try to get a room that is closest to the hotel's main Wi-Fi router. If they have a room available closest to it, right next to it would be perfect, because the closer you are, the better off you'll be. Yeah, there's sometimes I can, sometimes I can't get that. One of the hotels that I was at last year, I was probably midway of the whole place, right in the middle, and it ended up being the best Wi-Fi connection I had. But I had done some other things to make sure I didn't lose connection. I was at that place for 2 weeks. Here's what helps me out. I also carry a Wi-Fi range extender or booster. Here's what I use. I use a D-Link. This is the actual one that I have. DAP 1650 Wi-Fi range extender. Here's a note that keep this in mind. Technology changes daily, so do your homework before you buy any equipment. The reason why I got this one is because the Best Buy that I was at, it was the only one they had for me to get, so I got it. They do have some that will connect into and I do have one of those that'll connect in. I don't have a picture of it. It's an older one. That overrides your Wi-Fi on your laptop. Ask around when you go check these out. Check on some that will hook into your computer or this one here actually plugs in. There are different types, and I found that they're around $90 or less. Checking the Wi-Fi wireless internet. Wi-Fi is shared with other guests in a hotel, so the more guests that are in the hotel using Wi-Fi, the worse your connection may be. That's why I want to be as close to the hub as possible. I found that trading in the mornings, when less people are at the hotel or out for breakfast, I get a better connection. I get a better connection than, let's say, between 6 and 10 at night. That's when I find that it really goes to heck. But if you're trading usually in the morning, you'll get a pretty good connection, and it's pretty steady. Before you start trading live, this is what I do before I start trading live. When you're trading outside of your home, it's best to start in simulation. Do this for a few trades to confirm, to get comfortable with your new setup and see how good your connection is. Now, if you trade with a laptop already, it'll be easier for you to move in and out, unless you're trying to add other screens. Really advise doing all your pre-setups prior to going on vacation. Don't do this the day that you're gonna you get down and start trading that day. Make sure you have everything worked and get it all plugged in prior to going. But what I'm looking for here is trading in simulation, getting used to my mouse, getting used to the screen. It might be a little different. The resolution might be different. And I'm also checking out the Wi-Fi to see how well that's working for me. After you're satisfied with that things are working well, you can go to trading live. I really advise you starting out with one contract at first. Watch closely before adding more contracts, just to make sure you don't lose a connection, because it will happen. What to do if you lose connection, a Wi-Fi connection. If you're not in a trade, I lost connection twice. That was both in one day. And I had forgot to plug my range extender in. Once I did that, I stopped losing connection. But if you're not in a trade, go into simulation, wait for 5 to 10 minutes to see if it happens again. Well, before I've located my range extender, it went out again, and it was probably about 10 minutes after the first one. It happened within 10 minutes of the first one going out. While I was digging around in my bag, I grabbed it, plugged it in, and reset the range extender, and never lost it again for a week and a half. Never lost it again. Once you're confident that the connection is reliable, again, and you have a strong signal, you can see that on your laptop for Wi-Fi. It'd be like looking at it on the phone. If anybody has any questions on that, let me know. It looks like a bar graph, and you'll see, at least mine does. That's what it actually looks like. Maybe even like on Wi-Fi on your phone. The more bars you have, the stronger the signal. If you're in a trade and you lose connection, you should already have your trading account number and broker phone numbers with you. I plug mine into the phone for a speed dial. I have the account number there, and I also carry my notebook that has that information on the top of the cover. Make the call to your broker, emergency trade desk, and ask them to flatten your positions. Do not trade blind. Once you lose that Wi-Fi connection, you have no idea where you're at. We do have a video, PowerTrade video on what happens if you lose numbers that you should keep or something like that in the PowerTrade section for WINvesting. Take a look at that, see what you have to have. Some brokers you can tell flatten, some you have to go through and let them know exactly what you want to do. They'll ask you, they're pretty good about it. They're there to help you. They're not there to mess you over or hope that you lose money. They're there to help you out. So make sure you take a look at that and have everything in order when that does happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen to you. I've only had that in the last 4 years. I've only had that happen once on a Wi-Fi connection. We have any questions on that? Yeah, if you can use in a hotel room, if you can use an Ethernet cable, go for it. That's what I would do if I had it. I think about last eight from last year and this year, they don't even have them in the room anymore. It's all Wi-Fi. Now, if you use an Ethernet connection, you might want to ask if they are using a cable or for their internet, like, I don't know, we have like Cox or somebody like that where they actually run a hard wire. But some of these places, you can even have an Ethernet, but they're actually using a satellite to pull that in. Be aware of that too. Know what kind of connection they have. They'll tell you. If the person at the desk doesn't know, there's somebody there, a manager or somebody there would know what they have. By all means, it is a lot better to be hooked up to a Ethernet cable than running off Wi-Fi. But here in saying that, Wi-Fi has been more reliable than it was 5 or 6 years ago when I first started trading on a laptop. My first trading computer was a laptop. And I lost connections constantly. How many of you out there trade, travel while you're trading? I have traded in airports, I have traded in hospitals, several different hotels. I've never traded outside at the beach. Mike, you do? I think if you're going to, you can. Just make sure you have your stuff together. Bob, how you doing? Let's go ahead and take a look at 2 o'clock trade coming up. Escape. Let me grab this out of the way. Had a nice run down here. And I'm going to just throw the line up here, a vertical line. I see I don't have a time trader on it. And I'll hit data and hit 2 o'clock. So we'll do this manually, no problem. I'm used to it. I'll follow this up. A double bottom down here. I'm only trading one contract here on this one. I did trade 2 contracts for the oil report. No, I didn't cover laptop specs or models or brands. I didn't go over that. I don't know too much about the laptops other than I can tell you where I got what I've got are the Asus, and I've got both of mine I purchased from Eddie Z Trading Computers. They clean them out real good, so you don't get all the garbage with them that you usually get with buying them at a big box store. But that's no problem if you know how to do that. I know guys that have trade that use HPs, Apples, but they have to partition the drive so they can have Windows. Just what I would suggest, get the one that has the fastest fastest stuff that's available. I do like solid state hard drives. Most of them are that way now anyway. And personally, I like a bigger screen. So my laptops are big. Mine has to sit in the crate or the little thing that you put all your stuff in going through the X-ray at the airport. Mine sits part of the way in and part of the way out. It's a big laptop. The Asus that I have actually has a motherboard in it like the home computer. It has its own video card, so I can swap the video cards out without having it sent in. It's not integrated, so it's pretty nice. I don't think it's all that necessary. I do like the looks of, and the last boot camp I was at was a couple of brand new ones. HP, I believe they were. Really nice, thinner. The only thing that didn't have VGA ports. They had to use a HDMI or the USB. I don't remember what they did. I helped them get that up. Yep, you're welcome. Got about 2 minutes here. I'm just waiting here. I'm going to go ahead and lay a couple other lines out here for a possible reversal. Could have one up here close to that 50 EMA. I don't want to set it in too early. Got a 1 tick above the high and low. This could happen right away, or it could take a few minutes for it to pop in. I use a 921 and a 50 EMA on my chart here. let me check. There was one of these charts yesterday I was messing around with in the room, but that's the ones I normally run. One of the charts I forgot to go back and adjust it, but I was showing examples of using the EMA and then changing the numbers on here for looking for pullbacks. Say it's not hitting the 50 EMA, drop the number until it consistently hits it in an area. Yeah, 9. I must have done it on gold. 921 and a 50. I'm up $337.50 today. Was up 192.50 in the room this morning, but that was all using one contract at 3 ticks. There was some there that on NQ I did have 2 contracts out. Took maybe 3 or 4 of those. Yesterday using 3 tick targets and just one contract. I stopped trading when I hit 200. We're in the trade. Take $40. That'll put me just a little bit over, just under 200. Really like to see it come up towards this 50 EMA. I've been finding that I'm going to run most of my trading will be done with one contract till I'm out. I'm down to 297.50 now. Till about a week and a half into all the next week for sure, I'll be trading one contract, and then I'll take a look at it beginning of maybe go Tuesday, Wednesday of the week after September there. About a week and a half before I start coming out with a little more. I'm going to leave this out here. Still like the short. What I really like to see it do is pop up here and take it down. Take it right back down to this one right here. Trading the non-farm payroll. Trade the 6E. Let me read your question all the way here, Bob. with your 6E there that you trade the night before and you start at 9 o'clock, do you do that as a like a breakout trade there at 9 o'clock? Let's say this here is 8:30. Let's make it the next candle. And we have about 5 minutes past, you know, at 8:24, 8:25, start bracketing the price. There's different ways to do it. This one here would be the easiest. If you have the time indicator, just set it up for that. And I don't think you use NinjaTrader, do you? At least you didn't when the last time I talked to you. Bracket it up here, and then on the non-farm payroll or most of the other ones, I would use a 3 to 4 tick entry. Now, if you're doing 6E, I don't know what that would be. You could go with a 2 tick, but gold CL, and this would be the area here where that high is. You could place your order in down here, as long as it's, you know, I make it 3 to 4 ticks and a long up here. Or you could do it right off price itself that comes into this candle right here, and I'll keep moving this box up and down, and I'll place my order in about 13 seconds or less, bring it in. But what I'm also watching for is I can kind of get an indication of what this candle is doing. Sometimes it looks like it's telling me that it wants to go down, and I will shove my order in 1 tick below it of that particular candle. But that can be really tricky. It takes a good eye, and I just have a knack for it. Sometimes I can get in real good with that. Yeah, you put the 50 SMA and a 200 SMA on the chart and get in on the 50 and out on the 200. Okay, I get it. If this was the non-farm, I would still be waiting for it. I want that to smash up. Testing 1, 2. Yeah, you got me? All right, all right. I don't know how much you missed. I just went and changed my headset. All right, Bob, I'll answer your question here when we get to Q&A. I think I was doing it, but realized that my headset wasn't working. All right, for your best trades of the week so far, what is it? If you have a microphone, let me know, and I'll unmute you. Otherwise, type it into the chat box. Today was my best trade, and it wasn't the oil report. I lost, put 2 contracts out. I did lose 2. I got slipped real good. So my entry, actually I did get entered right where I wanted from the high here. Did get entered, didn't go up any further. Came down and I took a 4-tick hit on that, lost 80 bucks on that one. It came down at my my other entry. I had a long and a short put out, and I was able to get 2. Then I got back in for the long to try to get it back up, and I had a 10-tick stop on that one. Thought I moved the target, and it ended up being the stop. My mistake. So I lost $200 on that trade. So 1 win, and whatever I made here, I lost here. And then I placed an order in on this candle here for a short. I had a line coming back off one of my other charts, and it just happened to be right here, and looked like I was going to get taken out. And when this candle came down, I had a 5 and a 10-tick target. And I was talking to a friend of mine, Russ, and looking at it, and I said, I shouldn't have that much. And when I went and measured everything out and looked at it, remembering that this candle came down as if it was like news. So I got 11 ticks and a 16-tick target on this particular trade. That was my best. Actually, that was my best for the last 2 weeks, really. Going on 3. Anybody have any good trades this past week? So that's where I ended up after that trade. I was already up 192 before that trade. 192.50. Last week was probably the worst trading week that I have seen or had all year long. This particular oil trade, I didn't trade oil last week. I was at an appointment. It almost reminded me of what it looked like last week. Garbage. Nothing, no big run or anything in either direction. Brandon, this week's been a dumpster fire. How was last week for you? Last week was murder for me. What did you learn this week that would benefit other traders? If you have a microphone, let me know. I'll unmute you. Otherwise, type it into the chat box. What I learned this week is going back through my notes. Once I got back here to Michigan, I look back the last 3 years just for this time period, and for 2 years, other than not counting this one, 2 years back, this week, that last week and this week were the 2 worst trading weeks of the year. Friday made it a losing week. Got my stop. Real bummer, yeah. I kept noticing that, I don't know if it was the Wi-Fi that I was on or what it was, but I would see that my target would get hit 3 or 4 times at even just +3, and I wouldn't get filled. I was also getting slipped quite a bit more than I normally would. And I've talked about slip. A lot of times I'm getting in right at the price that I've got set, but it kept pushing me away from, I get, if I was going in at 50 long, it would get me in at 51. That's just an example. And it didn't matter what direction, it was always getting one. NQ was slipping me 2 ticks at some points, and when it would go to hit the target, even with a 3-tick target, it would hit it 4 or 5 times and still not get filled, which was really frustrating, knowing that it should have been filled on one of those, but it just all depended on when that got filled the first time. Who's in first? So keep notes of your trading weeks from the past, and they're normally going to run in run the same from year in and year out. Brandon, you've been talking to other traders on how odd the pattern in bonds look really strange. Is that now or just in general? Almost looks like there's no trading. I'm on the wrong contract. The last 2 weeks, yeah. Yeah, the last 2 weeks, the market's been moving good, just things haven't worked out in my direction, especially CL. Just not, which I'm set for it. I'm prepared for it. I don't want to go looking for another method. It should turn around here coming up soon. What can we help clarify that will help you be a better futures trader? Here, Bob, I'll be getting to your question there. If you have a microphone, let me know and I'll unmute you. Otherwise, type it into the chat box. While we're doing that, waiting on anything, let me go back to trading non-farm on Friday. Bob wants me to talk about how I would trade the non-farm payroll this Friday. He finds that sometimes he trades the 6E from the night before, starting at 9 p.m. and he makes more that way than the opening of the next day. If you're trading that and making more at that time, stick with that. Unless I don't watch the, was it 6E? So I don't know how that's working out for opens, but opens have not been working the best overall. Every once in a while you can get your targets, but for the most part, I just soon take that time trade and reverse it. Go have a sell order out at the high, 3 to 4 ticks above it, the 5-minute breakout, and a sell or a buy at where you would normally put the sell order out 3 ticks down. And been watching that. There are days that I do that, and every time I go to doing that, it goes the other way. So I have to get in sync with it. I need to get in the right timing of that. So going into the non-farm payroll, how I trade that, I'll trade gold or ZB on that. Sometimes I trade both of them. So let's grab. We can use the CL chart. It'll work. Let's grab this. Let's say this next candle that's coming up is my and this is the candle that I trade off from. You can run this up. This would be for this candle here, and just mark the highs and lows 5 minutes prior. But I don't like going in 1 tick above that. I want to go up a little bit higher, 3 ticks, 4 ticks above it, or below it of that bracket. We got 11 seconds here. Now let's say that this candle here is the candle that I'm going to trade off from, and not worrying about the brackets. Let's see what I've got here. It's a 5-tick box. Let's say this is a 3-tick box. And I'll keep moving this up and down. I don't know what it is. It could be 5. Yeah, it looks like 3. And then when it gets to about 13, 14 or less seconds, that's when I'm going to start bringing in my order. And I'll lay it in here and here. So I'm using a candle that is actually on the hour, 8:30 for that particular trade. Now you can use the brackets on the time trader indicator if you have it. You're not using Ninja yet, are you? And that's how I would take that trade. I don't want to get into that short, although it looks like it could go. Did that help you out, Bob? Good. So what you can do? Do you play? Do you have the Ninja Trader yet, or what platform are you using? If you go in and just make the vertical line, let's say we'll do this at. I don't know if you can click on yours. Go to the data. And it'll slide it over to time. So once price gets into this line here, that's when I'll start making my bracket. Now I know if I draw a 3-tick box, taking a look at price action, if there's a level that I want to get above, the 3-tick box, let's say I want to go in at the 3 ticks, but I get down here and I see that I need to come back up, I'll just go to make it 4. It's just an eyeball to see where I've got it. And a lot of times I just go with the 3 ticks itself. That was a good trade for that short. Sierra charts, I think you might be able to do that. Or just take it and take the 5 minutes prior to the news and bracket that and go. I still would go 3 to 4 ticks out away from the bracket, especially on news. I like getting in a little closer. I'm using a 4-tick stop with anywhere from a 3 to 20 tick target. And what I'm hoping for is positive slippage in my direction. So I don't mind going in with 3 and getting 10 like I did back here, or 5 and getting 10 off this. I got 10 ticks off that, both contracts at 10. And I had a 5 and a 10 tick target. I'm just hoping for positive slippage. Anybody else have any questions that I can help you clarify? Help get clarified for you. Wait a minute if you have them. We'll get back to it. Quote of the week. The market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Warren Buffett. I'm in between Grand Rapids and Muskegon, a town called Coopersville. You agree with this? Yes or no? I'm impatient. I'm very impatient. Learning, I'm getting better at it. Yes, Bill says yes. I agree with it. The next step, where to go from here? Review your notes and take action on at least one thing you've learned. Visit us at WINvesting.com and check out our profitability pass. Send us your feedback and suggestions for future episodes to support@WINvesting.com. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate all you joining me today. I hope you learned something on that. Don't be afraid to travel and trade. Just make sure you have your stuff that you gotta have. That if you have a certain item that you like to take with you, make sure you take that with you. Power strips aren't too bad to take along with you. I didn't mention that. I didn't take any with me this time. Luckily, I had use of some down where I was at, but you might want to throw a small power supply in there with your power strip. Brandon, hey, I wanted to thank you on the Russell PowerTrade from a few weeks back. Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome, D. It's helpful, Brandon. Good, thanks. I know I wish I'd have had this the first time that I had traveled. And I have, it's almost like a shaving kit that I have my cables, mice, and anything else that I might need. inside that. All righty. Thanks again. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you the next time around. Trade safe, trade smart, keep your losses to a minimum. And hopefully we'll see you the next time around. Have a great one. Talk to you later.